Right, today we're replacing the number 7 ignition coil, which is on the rear of the driver's side, on a 2014 Chevy Silverado with a 5.3 liter engine. So when it comes down to the coil, it's not too difficult. We've got the electrical connector on the top here. There's going to be a little plastic interlock. We'll release, we'll get the wiring off of it. There's 2 bolts with 10mm heads, and then we've got the spark plug wire here. But there is going to be a kind of a sound cover over top of this, which is going to be held on by a couple little pegs. So you need to pop those off. The engine oil dipstick needs to come off, and probably maybe the trickiest part is the breather tube. And so this is one of those locks that you're going to press to release it and pop it off the valve cover, and also remove the engine oil cap. And then you'll get that sound barrier off and free up and give us some open room here. So now I'm going to try not to knock over the camera too terrible here as I kind of work around it, but I'm going to release the electrical clip there, the lock, pinch my connector, disconnect that, and slide my spark plug wire off the ignition coil. Now typically it's a pretty decent idea to replace the ignition coil wires as well as the spark plugs at the exact same time, but this was done recently, so I'm going to just go ahead and replace the coil here today for the customer request. So we've got 2 bolts here. You can see we can get them loose. I'll work them out. Alright, so I've got both bolts off. Now I've got the ignition coil off. I'm going to set that out of the way. I can grab my new one. And set it in place. Get each of my bolts started here. So I'm going to tighten both of my bolts. I'll take my electrical connector, slide it back into place, put the locking tab back down. We don't want this thing popping off later on. And I'm going to take my ignition coil wire. I'm going to slide that back on. Make sure it's clicked into place properly. But you see, once I get that tightened down, I'll put my sound cover back on. I will put the PCV line back into place. We're going to clear any trouble codes, and we're going to verify that the engine is running on all 8 cylinders. Hopefully now you know what it takes to replace the ignition coil on a 2014 5.3 liter engine.